we go. Hi, this is Saint Jerome of Crypto Experiences bringing you yet another crypto experience. Today is March the 7th of 2024, and I have a very special guest interview for you today. I think you'll be very happy to meet this young man and intelligent young man that he is. So, would you introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Steven. I am a full stack software developer. I've been involved in the crypto space since 2015. I became a dev for crypto in 2017. Um, I was working on a decentralized smart contract for dealing with exchanges, so a decentralized exchange. And now I work as a software developer lead, and I've got quite a bit of experience under my belt now, and I'm loving it.
Oh, that's great. So, Stephen, what is the latest project and the reason for the interview today that you are working on?
Yeah, so the project we're working on is called phipay. It's on Phinance.gold. The site is www.finance.gold. And phipay is the payment system for basically transacting in what we're calling the honest money economy. And honest money economy being essentially you can use gold to buy and sell goods and services. And then we've also created an ERC20 token called phigold, and that's going to be the main denominator within that ecosystem.
Now, one thing since we've had a previous conversation, and I know a little bit more about yourself and the company. How do you spell Figold? How do you spell PhiPay?
Yes. So phigold and phipay, it's PHINANCE for finance, and then phipay is PHIPAY. And we chose phi because that's the Greek letter, and in a lot of mathematics, phi is the number for, it's the symbol for the golden ratio. So it felt like it was a
I
nice
should have
mix.
known. Yeah, I should have known that. That's clever. I didn't get that. So, and then so that's the symbol you have then for your project then, correct? And then
Yes.
that's
Yep.
pretty neat. Now, did you want to talk about? I know it's a little early in the conversation, but about like where people should go then right now to introduce, or you want to wait on that?
Yeah, I mean, anybody who wants to follow along and kind of tinker with the site a little bit, you can go to www.finance.gold, PHINANCE.GOLD. At the moment, it's still in the early beta phases, but if you're crypto savvy, all of the functionality is there in a beta state. You can, if if you're savvy enough to change your wallet, like MetaMask and Brave Wallet, for example, if you can change those over to the Mumbai Polygon testnet, then you can interact with everything right now, right off the bat.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's right on the edge of my expertise. And I've been in the crypto space since about late 2016. So yeah, I can handle wallets and things like that, but yet I'm always scared to death I'm going to do something stupid. So, but I think it's not that bad if you just have a little patience going on. So, I think we went through a couple of questions here already. I had planned. Let me go to the precious metal side. How did you get interactive with from your computer background into precious metals? Was there an influence on you? Something you've always been interested in?
Yeah, so precious metals are actually kind of a newer interest for me. I was always interested in crypto, Bitcoin in particular, and then Ethereum. When that came out, I was really excited about that. The idea of being able to build smart contracts on a decentralized computer just sounds awesome. And uh, it was really just recently, within the past 3 years, that I started getting into gold. And the reason for that was my dad. He started getting into something called Goldbacks, and you're very familiar with Goldbacks now at this
Mm-hmm.
point. But when I saw the Goldbacks in person, I was like, wow, these are really cool. And they solve a very particular um, problem that you need to be able to spend your gold if it's to have any kind of value. So I thought that was a really great concept. And then my dad was talking to a man named Mark Volker who was selling him Goldbacks. And Mark had mentioned that he wanted to put these Goldbacks on the blockchain, or just gold on the blockchain in general. And he was like, "Do you know anybody?" And my dad just happened to know that I was a software developer who had blockchain experience, and so he connected us. And then about 6 months later, after lots of talking and brainstorming ideas about how to make something like this work, we founded a company called Phinance.gold LLC, and I got to work on the project. And so the website's gone through a couple of different iterations. At first, we were just kind of planning to sell gold products and things like that for crypto, USDC, BTC, ETH, all that good stuff. But the thing that we were starting to really dream about and hope we could bring to fruition was this idea of having an honest money economy where you can bring gold into the blockchain. And the reason I feel like that's really valuable is a lot of the transactions that take place with gold, Goldbacks included, even though they're fractional and spendable, the problem is that it's a very localized transaction. So you kind of have to be there physically in order to make the transaction happen. You have to go to the person, either hand it to them or ship it to them, which is an even longer transaction process. So that was when the idea for Phinance.gold and phipay really started to take shape, and we got really excited about it. We started getting some partners. Defy the Grid is very interested in being one of our partners as well. And so now we're kind of we're trying to push out the first initial release before the holidays this year.
Oh, awesome.
And we're accepting beta signups already. So if you go to the website, you can kind of scroll down the list and you'll see one of the sections has a notify me button. If you just put your email in there, you'll get the first newsletter, basically just an introduction to what we do. And it'll tell you about some of the beta features that are available already. And if you're interested in receiving emails about how to get started with it, that's something that we could also use as an avenue. So you can already sign up for it right now.
Oh, that's pretty cool. You're getting a good ways on the ways on that. That's awesome. Now, I was thinking about the whole procedure, and I don't know all the details, but this is going to be vaulted someplace, correct? The gold that is being backed. I think I know a little bit about it, but I don't want to step out when you actually know what's going on.
Right.
Can you explain the vaulting process, and then maybe perhaps if you want to share today, you may not want to, but maybe where you're going to vault it and that kind of thing, or some thoughts about that?
Yeah. Nothing is going to be secret about where it's vaulted and how much is vaulted.
Right.
Our plan is to have storage at multiple vaults. UPMA could be one of them. Dylan Engage is another one we're engaging with right now. So there are multiple vaults. We figured that whichever service provides the easiest way to get auditing services. So far, Dylan Engage has been really good about being transparent about what's in their vault. So that seems like the service we'll most likely go with, but it could change in the future. So, but basically, what we're hoping to accomplish is kind of a return to the gold-backed dollar. It's not a dollar; it's a representation of gold that's actually stored in a vault somewhere. And our goal is to make sure that it is very transparent, that there is no fractional reserve banking of any kind. There's a one-to-one relationship with every token that's produced with reserves that are stored in the vault. And so no phigold will ever be minted without some sort of process, an auditing trail that says the purchase order has been made, it's been shipped to this, and this is how much gold is currently in the vault. So in that sense, we're hoping to develop an ecosystem of trust. Obviously, trusting in a single entity is really not what crypto is about. So the long-term goal is eventually going to be to distribute that honoring of one phigold is equivalent to one goldback. You can use it to exchange with a number of different vendors. Defy the Grid has agreed to be a partner in that particular aspect of it.
Well, you brought a couple questions to mind, which is great on that. So one thing is about the vaulting. I was pretty curious and pleased to hear what you said about that. Now, for those who are new to Goldback and new to vaulting and all that, could you explain what the UPMA is? I know what it is, and I am a member now. So, and it's a vaulting service, and I send a little money over there already. I'm still in the beginning phase, but it's pretty exciting to me. And then Dylan Gage, I hadn't heard of Dylan Gage. I got a hold of Coda of DeFi the Grid, and he informed me what Dylan Gage was. So I did a little research on that. Whoa, I was really impressed with them. So those are two good entities. Could you talk just a little bit about each of them?
Sure. I mean, UPMA is the United Precious Metals Association. They have a really good relationship with Goldback. I think they're actually Alpine Gold is a partner in
Yeah.
that as
Hmm.
well. So there's a lot of it's kind of like Goldback as a first class citizen there. So if you own Goldbacks, UPMA feels like a pretty natural choice, which is why we were considering it to begin with. And then um, the Dylan and Gage vaults are they just have a good reputation. They have auditing services, third party auditing services, and that was kind of the main draw there. Is that just being able to audit these things on a regular basis, on at least once a month, to make sure that there's a blockchain correlation, or sorry, like a token one-to-one correlation between the tokens and the amount that's in the vault, and for there to be some sort of auditing trail that allows people to have confidence in that.
Well, I was impressed looking at Dylan Gage. They seem like a one-stop shop there. I think they're a refinery. They're a vaulting service. They sell precious metals. I don't know, dang, they do everything. And so I hadn't heard them before. And then I've been reading the online reputation. That's very good. So that feels like a really high quality service. And I like the UPMA. What I know so far, good experience for me, just getting into it. For those of you who don't know what a goldback is, it is a very unique, I don't know what to call it, currency, I guess. I don't want to call it a note because it's not a debt.
It's it's a
It's
type of coin. It's just
yeah,
a
a coin.
smaller.
Yep.
It's a more fractional form factor. So one gold back has 1/1000th of an ounce of gold that's actually in 2 layers of polymer. So it's polymer bonded atomicized gold, and it's 0.999 purity, so it's 24 karat. So
Yeah.
it's not something that you redeem for gold. It actually is gold, which is what makes it so cool.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing, folks. It's they have a polymer they put down, then they atomize gold and they control the vapor, I guess. They atomize gold and they put it on the note on top of beautiful artwork from 5 different states at this moment with plans to expand more. And then they have precise measurement and they actually put a little extra in just to be sure that's at least 1/1000th. And I find that, so that's usually like an extra 5% or more of gold. And then they put the other layer on it. And when you see one of these, they're not bills, but one of these, one part of this currency, one gold back, I guess is the best thing to call it. These things are tough. I mean, you can't tear them. I saw a guy took one and crumpled it every day from his wallet and never lost the gold content. And folks, the gold is there. If you want to see if the gold is there, watch Mike Adams, the health ranger. He does testing on these things, and the gold's there. Now, 1/1000th of an ounce is a little BB. It's a little dot. But if you got 1,000 of these gold back singles, you got an ounce of gold, right? And they go from one gold back to 5 gold backs to 10, 25, and 50 for denominations. And every denomination you go up is exactly fungible with the previous. So 5 ones is a 5, 5 fives is a 25, 2 25s is a 50, same amount of gold all the way through. And I just find that amazing. And
Mm-hmm.
they do it with the size of the note or the currency of the gold back and the thickness. So the 50 is pretty big. Well, not crazy big. It fits in a wallet, but it's big and it's got more sturdiness. It's not as flexible as a one. A one's fairly flexible, but it's tough. So pretty neat currency they got.
Yeah, I really feel like the main innovation that they brought to the table was that fungibility aspect of it, because um, if you're too afraid to spend one thing because you're afraid that it's worth more than the other one that you have, that it's just
Mm-hmm.
there's this psychological thing that happens where you don't want to spend it.
Yeah.
So I think that they made the right call to make it exchangeable, and then also being able to do the exact exchange rate. They put out an exchange rate every day at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and that exchange rate is honored across the board. Obviously there's like a minimum. There's a little bit of a range but that exchange rate that they have online is updated daily, and they'll honor it through UPMA, through Alpine Gold, through any of the vendors that are associated with Goldback. You know, Defy the Grid, Nevada Goldback, they're all honoring that same exchange rate, maybe with some discount on top of it.
Well, this is exciting to you. Now, I didn't realize the project was so heavy Goldback like that. Now, is that predominantly, or maybe the only one you're really going to base the phigold on? Because you're talking one-to-one with a Goldback. So is that pretty much the whole system would be the Goldback and phipay?
Yeah, so the thing with the phigold token is that it's honored at the one-to-one exchange rate for a Goldback.
Right.
So if you gave us 50 Phi tokens, we would send you 50 Goldbacks, or a 50 Goldback plus, or sorry, any combination that adds up to that 50.
Yeah, and if anybody really wants a ounce of gold, which I don't know why you would, because the practicality of a Goldback is its fractional nature, and
Right.
you can go as Jeremy Corden always says, you can go out and buy a carton of eggs with one Goldback. You can buy a gallon of gas. It's very practical. But if you have an ounce of gold, take that $2,000, well, 2,150 ish today, ounce of gold, and try to buy one carton of eggs and get change, right? That's not going to work very well. So this is exciting. And then to be able to do that with a cryptocurrency in the near future and to make a transaction, that's very exciting stuff. I just like the way it's all playing together like that. So that's I use the word neat a lot when I podcast. That's pretty darn neat. I like that a lot. So all right, we talked about quite a bit here. We've talked about, boy, a lot of my questions. So I'm a little programming ignorant. Is there anything you want to touch on the programming of this for those who are a little more knowledgeable than me? On you talked about it's on the Ethereum. It's going to be an ERC token. Is there anything else we need to know about the programming that would interest people?
Yeah, well, so maybe some things about, what is an ERC20 token standard.
Right.
That's a good starting point, I would say. So in the Ethereum ecosystem, or anything that's compatible with what's called the Ethereum virtual machine, those smart contracts that are ERC20 compliant are guaranteed to have a certain set interface. So if it's an ERC20 token, it must have a transfer from, sometimes mint, sometimes burn. It has a set of these functions that make it what is called an ERC20 token. And the reason that's important is because if you're classified as an ERC20 token, then anything that implements an ERC20 token can be used across the board interchangeably. So, like for example, Binance. You go to Binance and you want to transfer, or sorry, you have your MetaMask wallet and you want to transfer your tokens that are ERC20 to somewhere else. Because the token standard is in place, that wallet knows how to interact with it. So it knows what it can do with that token. So it just makes it really easy to expand this ecosystem of tokens for all kinds of different use cases. This use case in particular is what we're using it for.
So if you go to make a move, say from your wallet to an exchange, we move crypto around all the time on that. Do you add then the gas from the Ethereum to make that transaction like you do with a lot of tokens?
Oh, so in our particular situation, we're on the Polygon blockchain.
Oh,
So we
okay.
would be using Polygon Matic. Main reason for that is speed of transactions. It borrows a lot of the same security from the Ethereum blockchain. And then on top of that, the gas costs are fractions of a fraction of a penny.
Right. Yeah.
So it's so much easier to transact with that.
Yeah, that's really smart. I understand that. Isn't that good? I understand what you said. It's like, that makes a lot of sense, and that's a good thing. So those just be fractions of pennies, right, for transfer costs, and that makes it very practical in order to do, and it helps keep your one-to-one ratio with a Goldback that way too. So, all right, let's see.
Yeah, one thing to note is
Sure.
in the future, so kind of similar to how USDC, USDT, they have multiple implementations on different blockchains. USDC, you can find it on Polygon, you can find it on Optimism, you can find it on I mean, name a blockchain that's ERC 20, or sorry, Ethereum Virtual Machine compatible, and it's probably existing there too. So there are some plans in the future to expand this to other blockchains, just to make it a little bit more resilient, and to take advantage of some of the advantages that different blockchains may have to offer, like Solana. That would be a great place to put it as well, just because it's so fast. But we're starting with Polygon and then kind of expanding out from there over time.
This is like the perfect marriage for my interest. You know that, don't you? The crypto. I mean, this is crypto
Plus gold together.
experiences. And then, well, yeah, I've always been interested in precious metals because back in the day, when I was first really got into metals was Y2K was a concern of mine. So, okay, what if the grid goes down? Now what, right? Well, how do you make financial transactions? There was only one solution back then, and that was metals. You'd have to talk people into it. And then we pretty much at junk silver. For those who don't know what junk silver is, that's pre 1964 and below, dimes, quarters, half dollars, dollars, right? Because nickels weren't part of that, even though there were wartime nickels that had silver in them during the 40s, but just for a couple of years. But that was only like 40% silver or less than that. I don't remember, maybe 35%. But this is the perfect marriage of the two things like that. And I just like the interactability, if that's a word, of those two together. And like I said, that ecosystem, the Goldback, is fantastic, and that you're partnering with them. A little plug: we're kind of early in this, but Defy the Grid. I've worked with Coda. If you guys want to check early, I had an interview with Coda of Defy the Grid, the CEO. Wow, that I really like his website, and he does something unique. If you want to buy Goldbacks, he doesn't charge you any credit card fee. He's the only one I know that does that. Usually everybody jacks it up by 4% to cover their cost, but he doesn't do it all. So this marriage is, I like everything I'm hearing on this. All these companies are great. So
Yeah. Just to clarify, we're not partnered with Goldback Incorporated.
right.
We really like Goldbacks as a technology. We feel like they're an incredible innovation on gold coinage and fractional gold in general in a spendable way. So just putting it out there, if they're watching and they say we're
Okay.
partnered with you guys, I just want to clear that up.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, because I'm a little ignorant of that. I gathered you weren't partnered, but you're basing it on a Goldback. So that's pretty cool. But I mean, I could start my own crypto, I guess, except I don't know how to do it, and I could back it on Goldback to also be in
Yeah,
competition. But
absolutely.
yeah, don't worry about me. I am not going to be able to do that. I don't have
I'm
that
sure. I mean,
expertise.
this is not a new idea. A lot of people have thought of putting gold on the blockchain in the past. I think where it's really fallen short in the past is that there really haven't been a whole lot of avenues to spend it.
Mm-hmm.
Paxos Gold is a thing. That's something that you can go and you can buy it right now, and that is gold, and it is redeemable, but only in kind of ridiculous numbers. So
Oh, you mean like
so
size, like quantity or something?
right. So I forget what it's called, but it's essentially $480,000 worth of gold. It's one of those very large gold bars, and you have to go through a process to
Oh
do
my
that. So
goodness.
so what we're doing is a little bit different in the fact that we're honoring much smaller transactions. We want you to be able to use the gold, in real life, and that's where the goldbacks come in, because goldbacks are so spendable. So if you were to exchange your phigold tokens for gold backs, maybe you wanted to have maybe like a local wallet, like a hot wallet, plus your reserves that you're kind of keeping on the blockchain, so you can do digital transactions or online transactions. But you can go and you can redeem um, an amount of gold backs that kind of makes sense for day-to-day transactions, and that's what I think all of the other attempts at this have kind of not done. And it feels like you should be able to do that, because that's kind of what, if we're trying to replace or augment the current financial system, being able to withdraw into a cash form so that you can go make payments in person is valuable. So having an analog and a digital format for gold make a lot of sense to me.
Well, I really see a good use case of this for transactions at a distance. Crypto's great about that. So
Right.
let me get the token correct. What's the token called itself? Phipay or phigold? I'm a little confused on that.
So
What did you say?
phigold is the ERC20 token. So it's
Okay,
just the ticker symbol for it is
phigold.
PGD.
Okay,
And then phipay is the payment processing system. You can kind of think of it almost like a
okay,
Venmo style experience. So
okay. Oh,
when you
that
go to
makes
the
sense.
website, mhm.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
when you
Now
go to
that
the website, you can actually you can generate a payment code using a calculator that we have. So if you were doing a transaction in person, somebody could generate the payment code. You could, say this amount in phigold and then the rest in US dollars or whatever.
okay.
And then you generate the payment code, and somebody else on the other side who has a wallet and is logged into their their phipay account can scan that code, and it'll create the transaction. So you confirm it with your Web3 wallet, like a MetaMask or a Brave wallet. And when you click, scan, or when you scan the code and click confirm, the transaction takes place, and you don't have to deal as much with the inner workings of the wallet, except in that you just confirm the transaction. So trying to make it accessible, because one thing I have noticed is that if you're really into gold and you're very against crypto, there may be kind of a barrier for entry for interacting with that crypto space. We're trying to remove that barrier of entry as much as possible.
I just thought of a statement or question when we're doing that. Is I've heard the people Goldback and Valorum who actually makes the Goldback talk about the age of the people who are just thrilled about receiving an actual physical Goldback. It's actually a fairly young age. They're talking between 20 to like 40. Now, us boomers get a bad rep that we can't adjust to this digital world, like you'll see, oh, if you can't hold it in your hands, you don't own it. And I got a little bit of that, but I'm a crypto guy too. So I really get cryptos, and we're in a digital age. So you're going to have to be able to deal digitally with this. And that's why this is a perfect marriage of the two things. So I'm thinking ahead to myself, this will be great. Okay, I live in the communist, state of Illinois, and we have a lot of strict rules on a lot of things. The one precious metal thing they did right is there's no taxes on purchase of precious metals in our state, so that's a big plus. So if I want to make a transaction with one of these mini businesses that take Goldbacks, there's 5 states that officially take it, and there's more in the planning. And
Mhm.
Utah is getting a huge network of stuff. But say I
Oh,
find some.
they're booming with
Oh yeah.
transactions in gold right now. It's amazing.
And so as an out-of-state person, if I got to have your phigold token, now I can easily transact with somebody who accepts Goldbacks at a business across state barriers. I
Mhm.
find that that and ease of use too. That is amazing to me. Because everybody can see, oh, I've got the currency physically. I'm at the store, but what about me, right? I'm all the way over here. I'm not going to be
Right.
able to zip into Salt Lake City or some of those other cities and do a transaction like that. But I could sure do it with your token.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I'm actually currently working on is a widget to allow for it to be on any merchant site. If they have the widget, they can say buy with phipay. They scan the code, and the transaction goes through as you would expect it to. So that's coming down the pipeline. At the moment, what we're going to be doing is reaching out to anybody who accepts gold, Goldbacks, et cetera, any kind of precious metal for goods and services, and basically having them sponsored on our site as one of our partner merchants. So
Mm-hmm.
if anybody's interested in selling goods and services on our site for phigold tokens, they're essentially saying we will accept your phigold tokens for goods and services. They can do that on the website as well. So that's one other thing that you can be notified of there. And building out that ecosystem initially is going to be really important, and then eventually making it so that anybody can accept it, kind of like having a buy with PayPal button on the website.
That's pretty awesome. Random thoughts here. So I'm going to go back to vaulting just a second. So you are going to be vaulting the Goldbacks. Um,
Correct.
what if someone wants to withdraw some of the Goldbacks from the vault? Is that a possibility to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of the whole premise of what we're doing right now. So the Goldbacks that are are vaulted are mapped one-to-one with those
Right.
tokens that are produced. And so um, when we initiate this whole ecosystem and people are able to do that, make transactions on the live version of the blockchain, so Polygon mainnet, there will be a one-to-one correlation between those things. And so what we're planning is maybe once a month having the auditing service that kind of like tells you how much just got withdrawn, how much is going to be repurchased, and all that stuff. So the goal is to have it be extremely transparent, because I feel like in the society that we live in, it is very hard to trust
Oh
centralized
yeah.
entities, and we want to reduce the amount of trust that you have to have in us in order to transact with it.
That's why it's awesome it's on the blockchain, because the blockchain doesn't lie. You can lie a lot of ways, but that's an honest bookkeeping system. So that's really fantastic. Let's see. We talked about a lot of things here already in a short amount of time. Do you have a place to go with this? I think we've answered a lot of my questions I had prepared. Um,
Yeah.
so, well, I hate to cut it. It's short because we were going to go a little bit longer like that, but I don't know. What do you think, Stephen? Do you have anything else that you want to really touch? I want to make sure we touch on everything you wanted to cover today.
Yeah, I would say that it's not really necessary to go too much longer. Just an
Mhm.
introduction to the system, if that's sufficient. I would say that in the very near term future, there's going to be a site that or there's going to be a page on the website that demos how you use the app and
Oh,
everything.
okay.
So I would say keep an eye out for that, because that'll really be the thing that kind of shows, oh wow, like this is as easy to use as something like Venmo on my phone, to use gold in transactions. So that's really where I think the aha moment will come in, and that's coming very soon.
So to repeat the site, see if I got it now. It's www.phinance.gold.com. Is that
It's
correct?
Phinance.gold. So
Dot
instead of
gold. There's a
.com,
dot
it's
in there.
.gold.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So www.finance.gold.com, and finance is spelled did I do it wrong again?
Yeah, there is no .com. So it's just
Oh, it's just finance.gold.
Finance.gold.
Oh,
Yeah.
now how does that work? I'm a little ignorant on internet sites. So,
Oh
I mean,
yeah, I
there's
mean,
.com, there's
domains have
.org.
gotten so fancy. So you can say .biz, you can say .xyz, you can say .ru,
I've
whatever
never
you
heard of
want.
I've never heard of .gold. Is there a lot of companies that have .gold, or are you kind of pretty unique
I've
there with that?
I've seen it. I've seen a couple,
Okay.
but typically people have kind of stuck to the .com. I think that finance.gold just felt right, and it's the name of the company
Well, yeah.
already. So
Yeah,
we figured that that would be
it's shorter than
a
I
good way
tried
to
to
do it.
make it.
Yeah.
Just remember, folks, that finance is PH. That's the
Yep.
big thing when you do that. So that's real good. So I was going to ask you, like you have a history with computer programming, and it sounded like you went back on cryptocurrencies. What cryptocurrencies did you first get interested in that really launched in this? For me, it was simple. I heard about Bitcoin, and I was into alternate currencies a long time ago. I was one of those who, for about 4 or 5 years, was with the ill-fated Liberty Dollar.
Mhm.
Okay, and folks, you don't know about that. That was a good idea, except bless his heart, Bernard von Nothaus. Uh, he made it a little too much like U.S. currency, and they were not quite honest in making transactions. Goldbacks nothing like this. It's nothing like that. But they put dollar on their coin, and then they said trust in God. And then when they went to make a transaction, I saw the video they do. He said, "Hey, this is a new $10 coin. Can I buy a sandwich with it?" He didn't explain it wasn't a U.S. It wasn't a Fed dollar. So that's what tripped him up. But these Goldbacks have nothing like that at all. The orientation's at a different angle. It's got women on all the notes. It's actual gold, in the note. Nothing like that at all. So and the most
Good.
important thing is they're following the state law of the 5 states, which are there's let's get this right. They are legal tender
Yes.
and all those states. And Utah's got amazingly good state law that they founded 2011, I believe. So they've been at this a while.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
it's pretty incredible. One of the coolest things that I found out about Goldbacks when I was first learning about them was that that specie legal tender is a
mhm.
very important distinction on it because you know, every state has kind of laws around that specific thing, and the laws that are the states that accept these specie legal tender have some sort of language that makes it so you can use it as a currency there. So I'm hoping that more states follow suit with that because that is really going to open up the ecosystem. Um, and already as it is, you show somebody a Goldback and they see the glint in their eye and they get really excited about it. So there's
I've been
it
playing
has its
around
own
with them.
natural excitement factor.
I've been playing around with them in Illinois, and we can't like we don't have the luxury of going to a business and going, "I've got a gold back," and they know what we're talking about. I'm pretty sure pretty much nobody knows what I'm talking about. But when I pull it out, they are always, "What is that?" And I put it in their hand. And that's that you catch them when you put them in their hand. And once they have it in their hand and they're looking, I go, and I say, "That's real gold." Then their eyes light up, like what? And then they find it just fantastic. I want to tell a story I did. I went to a pawn shop in Central Illinois, and I looked, and I just killing a little time, and I was looking at all the coins, and bam, there's some goldbacks in there. I went, what? And so I looked at the goldback, and then they're getting a little collectible now, and it was an earlier date, and I was like, how much are those goldbacks? And they're $6. I go, well, I'll take all those because of the collectible date. I knew they were worth more than that. Now, right now, I think the exchange rate was about $4.64 a day on Goldback. You know, what you would trade them at in a business. But $6 is what some of the bigger like JM Bullion and SD Bullion do. Defy the Grid folks is it was a good price, lot under that. So, but I was just amazed. I saw them there, and then they even had. Now I know you don't have any plans with this, but have you ever seen a silverback?
Oh, I have. Yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty cool, but they're not financially. You don't want to use them. They are
No,
one
but they
ounce.
have some great collector value.
Oh yeah, they're
The
cool.
dragon art
Yeah,
is amazing.
yeah, it's the same company, right? That makes the Goldbacks, and it's like a big Goldback, maybe about the what size of of a 10, maybe. It's a pretty good size note, but only has 1/1000th of the ounce of silver, so that's about 2 cents, 3 cents of silver. But they're really cool looking, and that's it. But they had one of those there too at the pawn shop. So I go, whoa! So that was pretty cool. So even in Illinois, they've penetrated a little bit.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah. So, well, you got anything else, Stephen? You wanna bring up?
Well, to answer your question about
Mhm.
the cryptos and how I got
Yeah,
involved in that in the first
right.
place, I can kind of share my little
Sure.
experience.
Go for it.
So the first time that I heard about Bitcoin is when it first came out. I had a friend who was you know, he was in the IT space. He was very involved in just kind of more libertarian activities. He was just very excited about this thing called Bitcoin and that you could be and that anybody could join the network and mine with it on their computer and things like that. So he had some of the initial setups mining with his laptop, getting hundreds of Bitcoin a day, and
Oh my
I can't.
gosh.
I think about that now, and it just my mind is blown. He's probably doing pretty well for himself right now. Um,
Hopefully
but that was
he
back in
kept him.
2012. Yeah, hopefully. And then later on down the road, probably around 2015, 2016, that's when I really started to hear about this thing called Ethereum. And Ethereum really caught my attention because with Bitcoin, I was very excited about it as a store of value. But with Ethereum, I was like, the possibilities are endless. You can make decentralized programs that can execute without any kind of they execute with immutability. So
Mhm.
that was really exciting to me. So I got invested in that really early on, started learning how to do smart contract development, you know, really did a deep dive there. And then, you know, obviously 2016, 2017, those tokens exploded in value.
Mhm.
And, you know, we saw Bitcoin hit 20K and Ethereum hit 1400 and everybody was going crazy. And then the crypto winter. So, but one thing that I've noticed throughout that whole experience is that during these crypto winters is when a lot of these development projects are going at full steam. So they're outside of that hype cycle where the gas prices are too crazy and it
You're
doesn't make
right.
sense to do a
Mhm.
lot of development. But during that lull is really the best time to do any kind of software development if you're involved in the crypto space, because you kind of get a little bit more control. You can start accumulating a little bit more. Gas is very, very cheap. You can buy, the base asset for a discount, and then when things explode again, that's when the hype is there and
Mhm.
everybody's looking for crypto projects. And by that time, you're ready. You're prepared for it. So that was a really interesting observation. So this past, 2 years has been why we've been working on this kind of like under the radar for quite some time, developing some partnerships with both vendors and with policymakers, trying to make it so that when we do get through to the final launch or the initial launching stage, that we'll be ready and that people will be able to find value in it immediately.
Yeah, I've been amazed in my short time in cryptos, like I said, about the end of 2016, how it adapts and changes all the time. I mean, the blockchain is still the blockchain. So if you go on, let's go OG with Bitcoin, every transaction ever is there. But yet the services that come on and the way you can, like, for example, I don't want to name a lot of companies, but there's a company that's very prevalent in El Salvador. It's an American company, and that you can get your with, I'm not sure exactly how it works, but you can get the Bitcoin and use it kind of outside of the Bitcoin system as a promise for later, right? And but you're
Mm,
able to move it very quickly. If anybody's
right. You're
been
talking about
frustrated,
the lightning networks.
yeah, exactly. I didn't want to name the company I was with exactly, but yeah, the Lightning Network, and I've been able to use that a little bit. And you see these people selling, I mean, literally selling coconuts on the beaches of El Salvador using that app or using Bitcoin itself. And I'm like, this is mind blowing. This is a country that was only 30% banked. Did you know that?
I
There's
didn't know
only
that.
30% banked, and now they're like about 80% banked using Bitcoin.
That's
So
incredible.
yeah, it is.
If that's not a use
And
case for crypto, I don't know what is.
well, and it's such a genius. Bukele, the president, is just this guy's just an incredibly smart guy. He gave everybody in country that would try the Chivo wallet, which is national wallet, and gave them all $30 to start.
Wow.
You know, and then you know how they're making, or you know how they're mining their Bitcoin, the power they're using. It's a volcano.
Really?
I mean, it's like it is crazy. Yeah. So
Wow.
this explosion. Look at what it's done to that country. It was the poorest and roughest, most dangerous country in the world. Now it's the safest country in Central America. I mean, the
Wow.
turnaround's amazing, and that's a promise some of the stuff has for a new world. I mean, you can actually, this can be good for humans, right? Good for humanity. And so your project is right up there too. That be able to use precious metals, something we trust, and use a ledger that is don't need trust, right? The
Right.
trustable ledger. That is just so cool. And to be able to unite those together is awesome.
Yeah, I feel like it's a match made in heaven right now, especially because it's so difficult to trust any entity right now. It just feels like you take something that people already trusted as a store of value, and you take the immutability factor. You put those two things together, and you have something very powerful.
Yeah, I don't know how many scammer calls I get going. Uh, your Coinbase account, did you do this transaction? And go, folks, I've been off of Coinbase for about a year, so this is a scammer call coming on there. But I get lots of that kind of stuff. I don't know, maybe because they go find me, and they figure out what, my background and stuff. They come after me. But just if it's too good to be true, what? It's not true. If it's too good to be true. So well, Stephen, anything else? I've had a pretty good interview here, I think, and we're about at the 45-minute mark, roughly, or so. So that sound
Perfect.
good? Well,
Yeah, that's
I've
great.
learned a lot. Maybe I told a few anecdotal stories in between, like that. Did you want to mention your partners or anything? You mentioned like you mentioned, Defy the Grid and
Mhm.
Goldback. Um, and they'll be involved as separate entities, separate from you, but they are interested in that. And so I'm sure they'll partner. They're going to partner with you. Anything else? Anybody else? Anything we need to mention?
Yeah, so just a reminder, Goldback is a separate
Right.
thing. We're just interested in using their products
Right.
because it's a great technology. Defy the Grid. Nevada Goldback is the website, nevadagoldback.com. The owner of that site is Mark Volker, and he's my business partner. So we co-founded Phinance.gold back in 2021. And so we've been working on it since then. It was like October 2021. So it's been a minute.
So,
but Mark Volker is somebody who's been involved in the space for a very long time. He's one of the board members at UPMA. He is somebody who was an early founding member of the basically bootstrapping the Goldback efforts. He's been around the space for a very long time. So he's the gold guy, I'm the crypto guy, and with our powers combined, phigold is born.
now I had the privilege of talking with both you and Mark when we were talking about this interview and your project, and I did not realize his pedigree. I got like, wow, it's something else. So yeah, he's a pretty
Yeah,
cool
it puts
guy.
mine to shame for sure.
What's
We should
that?
definitely have him. His pedigree puts mine to shame for sure.
Well,
So at some point, he would be an amazing person to interview. At some point, he loves to talk about this stuff.
and I hate to bring it up, but it's just too cool to me. I found out later, if you've seen Blast, was it Blast?
Oh, Blast from the Past.
Blast from the past. Yeah, he was Blast from the past. He was living in that place, the underground bunker, and that I just like whoa. So I was just amazed on that. So I mean, I've always thought that place was so cool, and then actually talked to the person who lived in it. I thought, wow, that's pretty neat. So
Yeah.
okay, well, Stephen, I think we probably can wrap this up now, and I appreciate you coming, and we'll get this out there to everybody real quick. And thanks for coming. Now I'll talk to you a couple seconds after I stop it here. So,
Okay.
all right, so I'm going to pause.
Yeah.